West Michigan. I'm here today with Michael Herring, who is an attorney. He looks too young to be one, but that's all right, he is. And we are discussing...
elder law.
That's a lovely way of putting it. We don't say old people. They're mature, so am I. But let's use me as a guinea pig and ask questions, because probably you've been asked everything that a senior could ask.
More than once, I think.
But everybody is different, so that their particular question and asking you the same question will come out with a different answer.
It's
no
amazing.
two are alike.
No two people are alike. I get a lot of the questions, and they have the same general feel, which is usually, well, what happens next? What do I do now? And then all I have to do is ferret out, well, what is it that you're worried about? How is it you're concerned? And then we go from there. So,
and that's usually what happens. Because my first question is always, what does a senior citizen need to know to keep going till the end of their time on Earth?
Well, first of all, you would want to say, don't get involved with attorneys. And then second of all, you'd want to say, exercise and maintain, be active, and then reduce stress and worry. And that's where you might want to talk to an attorney.
Stress.
We can help with that. And it's amazing that just a little bit of prevention and a little bit of understanding, maybe a teaching type of aspect, it helps a lot, and it makes it so that you can lay your head on the pillow and sleep at night. So that's where we kind of come in. And for me as an attorney, I like to try and do something where you end up leaving with a positive as opposed to a negative. And that's usually just sitting down, discussing what's going on and what concerns you, and then making a plan from there.
And the word is plan.
Plan.
Yes.
Yes.
You always have to look not 1 year in the future, but 30. That sounds like a long time. But if you figure the age when people usually retire nowadays, if you don't figure that far ahead, you may have a problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of people right now that are more and more concerned with, I'm 65, and what happens if I live to be 95? And it never used to be that long. And that can I sit down with 90-year-olds all the time, more 90-year-olds than I ever would have thought, and they are active and still going strong. And their concern is, well, what happens if I outlive my money? What happens if I'm down to nothing? And admittedly, I would never have thought that I was going to get into that.
That is the answer. That's why we're trying to teach people at a younger age, start to prepare for that time ahead. And these baby boomers coming up.
Oh, the baby boomers.
And my eldest daughter has reached that lovely age of 65. So I can't tell you who she is because she would disown me. But how do you plan ahead for this?
Well,
every generation does differently.
And this generation is actually different than other generations. The baby boomers are more in a how do I protect my money mode, and how do I keep my money so that I can go the 95 years, or to 95. And a lot of that has to do with, well, you do two types of planning in the new elder law, which is you have pre-death planning and post-death planning. And prior to now, no one ever cared about the pre-death planning. It was just, well, I need a will, and I need a trust, or I need certain things. But now there's more emphasis on, well, what happens while you're still alive, and how do you keep and protect the things that you have? And that's where the new elder law is coming into. And we like to call it the 50-plus law more. But
oh, that's a nice word to just use the 50.
It's got a nice ring to it. It really does. And what you're emphasizing there is what, like long-term care. That's a huge topic right now. We have, if you watch politics at all, it's in the news. What happens with Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid even? How does this all affect me? Because most people that are in this age demographic of 65 and older, or 50 and older, they are moving into this group, and they're about to either get onto the program, which is going to cause a big spike in it, or they're thinking, well, what happens if it's not there? And so dealing with all those issues, it's really been kind of a convoluted mess, and all we can do is try and do it as best we can, because it does change, and there's just so much going on.
Well, there is, but when it comes to this, how come with the wonderful educational system we have in this country of ours that this has not been addressed earlier?
Well, in the education system, most people are done with their education at high-end 30s, and maybe they take some classes, and so then you don't have any more education, and there isn't anything out there about classes. I've seen seminars, and I've seen other things where you can come in and get, for an hour you can talk to an attorney and things like that, but it really takes, there's the big picture, and then there's you. Now, big picture, we know that a senior center, or to go into like long-term care, it costs $6,352, give or take, depending on what the average is, per month to be in a nursing home. And so everyone understands that that's a lot, and that fluctuates greatly. I mean, usually it's a little higher, and then sometimes it'll go lower, but on average, you're in that range, and if you're trying to plan for something like that, that can eat away a lot of your savings. So if you have over $300,000, it's not as big of an issue. But if you're in that below $300,000 or in the $200,000 in savings, and you want to keep that, that could be gone within a short amount of time, and you have to then plan.
What can a person of moderate means get into some type of savings program, I don't know what other term to use, so that they can gradually add to an amount that they have set aside for however long they might live?
Okay. All right. If you think of today's what you have to invest in, you have like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs are the new thing, CDs, 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, all these investment vehicles, and they're all creating this pile of money that you can use to either retire with, or you can spend it all, or you can do whatever you want with it. It's yours, and you've worked your whole lifetime to get this amount of money. And in this pile, you are then going to have to balance, what is it that I'm going to spend this money on? And that's where a lot of people are kind of, what is it that I can do? Now, if you're worried about like long-term care, and you're worried about, well, what about my financial bills? I think I read on MSNBC a while ago about the average healthcare cost per person is going to be $100,000. And I read somewhere that the average nursing home stay is between like 3 and 30 months. And I've read all kinds of things, and the reality is I've read them all, and they all are it's such a big target. You can really read between the lines and say no one really knows.
You don't, because you don't know how long you're going to stay on this earth.
Exactly, and you don't know how you're going to fit into the puzzle eventually, because the changes that have occurred in the past, even just the past 10 years, have made an extreme difference to the way even we plan today. Like it used to be that if you had a trust, you were fine, and that would protect everything. It used to be that and then it changed, and then it used to be an irrevocable trust, and that was the new hot button thing. But now even that's gone, and you have now and then it went to annuities, and annuities were the thing, but all of those have changed and made modifications, and really the thing that you can try and weigh is what is it that I can do now? And it depends, and then so many of these factors depend on your age right now, how long you're anticipating living, what your how much you have, and it really comes down to just a basic, here's you, and you are different than everyone else, and you need to figure out what you want to do. And I hate to give you that such a generic lawyer answer.
No, it's not a generic. Yes, it's a generic answer, but because everybody is different, and the actuarial tables will tell you roughly how long people will live. That doesn't hold true. Mm-hmm. Some will way out spend the time on Earth. The next one is gone.
Yeah, there's those people that plan their whole lives and then they pass away the day after they file for Social Security, and then
It
there's
happens.
might happen to my grandma. People who live to be 95, and so or no 105. Willard Scott says her name all the time.
Well, and
So,
some of those are in my ancestry.
yeah.
One of them died at 103 last year. So we're going to take a quick break and give us a chance to recuperate.